Hey everyone, I'm Cade Carter and I'm a senior here at Ball State from a small town called Warsaw, Indiana. I have one older sister and have lived with only my mother for about 14 years, ever since my parents were divorced. I've lived in the same house in Warsaw for nearly 22 years, including my time here at Ball State as an undergrad. My family has lived in Warsaw for multiple generations and has made this small community home for the past century. My family is all middle class and have found jobs around the Kosciuszko County area for as long as we've been a part of the community. My grandparents established 2 liquor stores in town, as well as a tax service about 50 years ago. They are now run by my aunt and uncle, as well as my mother, whom is now the owner of the tax service and has been for 10 years. The cultural artifact I decided to use represents a family tradition my grandparents started when all of us grandchildren were very young, and that is traveling out of the country. This carved wooden elephant represents our most recent trip out of the country we took as a family during Christmas break. I plan to describe the importance of this carved elephant, as well as a brief history of why and where we have traveled to, as well as how the tradition is being continued today. As far back as I can remember, my grandparents, on my mother's side, have been making it a point to take the whole family on trips out of the U.S. They have taken us to many countries, including Jamaica twice, Haiti, Turks and Caicos, Mexico, Aruba, the Dominican Republic, and the Cayman Islands. Though all around the Caribbean and Latin America, visiting each country really helps to find the wide array of cultures at each. My eldest cousin established this idea, being the firstborn, that he wanted to travel for his Christmas present. This, of course, was granted by my grandparents because of him being the firstborn, and it really stuck. Ever since their initial trip to Aruba, the idea continued to happen as the rest of us other 5 grandchildren were born. This wooden elephant represents the tradition of traveling with my family and marks the importance of experiences. Every summer, my grandparents would plan a trip for us and make it happen during the grandchildren's Christmas breaks, but it usually occurred after Christmas Day. The traveling tradition happened up till about 12 years ago when my grandmother had an accident that made her wheelchair bound while on vacation overseas. After the accident, the frequent trips eventually died down until very recently, about 5 years ago. Though both my grandparents are not in the best of health as they used to be 15 years ago, my mother has decided to carry the tradition out. I'm showing this elephant because it marks the importance my family has established through traveling the world together. My mom wanted to continue the tradition my grandparents started and has done so for the past few years. Just a month ago, we went on a cruise that sailed the Caribbean and made a few stops at nearby countries. One stop was Jamaica, where I purchased this wooden elephant carved statue. Here it is again. Though I have older artifacts to use, I wanted to use the most recent edition to show how this tradition is to carry on for as long as my mom is able to. I plan to continue the tradition myself for as long as I can when having kids of my own. The experience of seeing new and unfamiliarized land is unforgettable, and having family by your side makes the experience that much better. I hope to share these ideals when I start a family of my own and continue the traditions laid down by my grandparents. As for the elephant itself, I plan to keep it in my possession for as long as I possibly can. Being able to look at the carving and reflect its importance will help remind me of the experiences that lie ahead in the coming future. I hope my children look at this carving one day and remember how it all started. Thank you.